Comments made on the following paid commercial program are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time.
Welcome to the Money and Wealth Show. On the program this week, tax tips with David Ingram, money commercials, and our special guest, David Morgan. Welcome to the Money and Wealth Show. I'm Sterling Fox, and our special guest this week is David Morgan from themorganreport.com. David is a well-known metals analyst and a much sought-after speaker at global events and has just returned to North America after speaking at the first ever Silver Summit Asia in Singapore. David, welcome.
Well, thank you, Sterling. It's great to be with you.
It's good to have you here. What did you learn, and what did you tell those keen Asian investors in Singapore?
Well, I was lucky enough to get a television interview the first morning. I was there right before the conference, and I had a full 8 minutes, probably the longest TV interview I've ever given. And I just gave them the silver story, and as you know, it's quite dynamic. Asia is just waking up to the precious metals, generally speaking, and they pretty much know the gold story, but very few have heard the silver story. I was invited by these three Asian gentlemen for Silver Summit Asia, as you said, the first one. It was a huge success, had about 150 people, lots of people very interested in the market. I told them they're the leaders in the industry. You know, it takes some courage to break out from the core group or the herd, if you will, and go your own direction. So they really learned a lot between Mike Maloney, who's goldsilver.com, worked with Robert Kiyosaki and the Rich Dad, Poor Dad fame, and myself. And for 2 days, we did an overview of the global economy, how precious metals fit into that picture, and what the best investment basis is in both silver and gold.
Well, if 8 minutes is one of the longest television interviews you've ever done, you're about to break that record here on the Money and Wealth Show. We go for a little more than 8 minutes, which then allows me the luxury of asking you to tell us the silver story, please.
Well, I've said it a few times, but it certainly bears repeating, and that is that the amount of investment-grade silver available is actually less than investment-grade gold. So let me explain that. I'm only talking about commercial-grade bars, which are also investment category bars. If you look at the SLV as an example, every bar in there is a commercial bar, which is roughly 1,000 ounces of fine silver. And there's about 300 million ounces in the SLV presently, but that's all held as investment. And then on the other side, you have the retail investor, which is usually 100-ounce bars, perhaps 10-ounce bars, or coins. So the big picture in the silver market is there's somewhere around 1 billion ounces of fine silver that's in investment form. That's either in coins or in bars.
So 1 billion ounces on Earth.
That's right, in that form. So
Okay.
let's be clear. So we're not talking about silverware, we're not talking about silver jewelry or necklaces. We're talking about what an investor would buy as an investment. In gold, you're looking at probably 3 billion ounces. So most gold is held in investment form. That's really its main purpose. Certainly there's a lot of gold jewelry around. I wouldn't argue that point, but I'm not counting gold jewelry in this equation either. I'm comparing apples to apples.
Okay.
So with that, most people are very stunned by that fact. Now that doesn't mean that what we mine out of the ground is that same ratio. We still mine about 8 times as much silver per year than we do gold. And there's a lot of misnomers going around about the silver market as far as what the ratio is out of the earth. And it's commonly spread all over the internet that it's 16 or 17 to 1. That is not true. The truth is that the natural ratio, what comes out of the ground relative to gold, is about 12 to 1. And that can be proven from the 12th century onward. The 16 to 1 is what I call the classic or the monetary ratio. And that goes back to the Bank of England back in the 15th century when Sir Isaac Newton declared by mandate that the correct ratio, and he just looked at the marketplace, was 15.5 ounces of fine silver to 1 ounce of gold.
Okay.
So that's an edict. The free market had determined from the 12th century up until about that time period that it was 12 to 1, which is exactly how it comes out of the ground. Most of the easy to get to silver has been taken out of the earth already.
Is it true, David, that most silver production is a byproduct of other metal mining? It comes out silver mining specifically isn't the intent of the company, they're after something else, but Gee, there's silver as part of this operation as well?
Precisely, and well said. About 70% of the market is a result of base metal mining. You've got lead, zinc, and copper mining. And between copper, you got about 25% of the silver production. Lead and zinc is another like 33%. You throw in gold, which is roughly 13%. The total is roughly 70% as a result.
Well, you're a historian, in addition to being very contemporary in your information, and you have an appreciation for this. For literally thousands of years, David, gold and silver have been the ultimate insurance policy against calamity of any description, correct?
Correct. And I would also say it's slightly different, although your point is well taken and definitely on point. But, you know, in a free market society, gold and silver, by metallic standard, is the best way for a society to run. No mandate that, 16 ounces of silver equals 1 ounce of gold. You let the free market determine what the correct ratio is. And you can maintain price stability for hundreds of years when you have an open market system determined by the market itself. It's only when you get onto a partial standard or a certificate standard that things start to deteriorate. It's been pointed out many times, for example, in the 1800s when the U.S. was on an official gold standard, that it didn't work. Because you cannot mandate honesty. If a bank says they have X amount of gold and they have 1/10 that amount, sooner or later the truth is going to come out.
Right.
And so it's not gold's fault. Gold is an inert element. It doesn't have any thinking capacity. It's only when man gets into the equation that they can corrupt the system. But if we're trading a true gold-to-gold standard, where it's gold coins only, so to speak, it's really hard to corrupt the system. But the system's always corrupt because of the moral capacity of the human being not to try to take advantage of somebody else.
Our guest this week on the Money and Wealth Show is silver analyst David Morgan from themorganreport.com. Lots more on today's program. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is David Wolfen. I'm the president of Avino Silver and Gold Mines. Avino owns 100% of the historic Avino mine in Durango, Mexico. Mining dates back over 500 years, and under our control, we mined it for 27 years. We're starting on a new era of mining, and we plan to reopen the mine this year. Avino trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange under the symbol ASM. For more information, call 604-682-3701 or visit the company's website, www.avino.com.
Good afternoon. My name is Larry Ray. I'm the president and CEO of American Manganese, Inc. I'm here to tell you today that American Manganese could possibly bring in the lowest cost electrolytic manganese metal mine in North America. It'll be the first one in the past few decades. What is manganese? Well, you can't have a steel industry without manganese. If you don't have manganese, you don't have steel. If you don't have steel, the world stops. North America has no manganese. We depend on our neighbors and other countries to import our manganese, and it just doesn't make any sense. We don't exploit the resources in our own country. So I'm here to tell you that we are moving ahead with the feasibility study, we're moving ahead with the environmental studies, and we're moving ahead with a massive drill program in order to build the American Manganese, Inc. into the first primary electrolytic manganese producer in the United States. Please visit our website at americanmanganeseinc.com or call us at 604-531-9639. Thank you.